Hello, I am Sandra Lee with miracleinspirations.com and the Breathe Life Inspirations blog. This is supposed to be Facebook Live, but it's not letting me Zoom to live right now, so I'm just going to record it and post it for you. So today I am talking about Ask Me Anything about weight-bearing exercise and bone density. So what I'm doing is I'm combining a couple of the topics that we've been talking about here for a little while and then seeing how they all work together. I think I mentioned last time or the time before I did live that all of these health related issues, food and all these things impact each other. Metabolism, getting the right food, chemicals, toxicity, inflammation, all these things impact each other. So today we're going to talk about the interaction between our bones and how our bones build and structure themselves and exercise. I mean, it makes sense. We were talking before about how when I put weight on the bones and require that they support my body weight, that requires the bones to be strong. Now we're going to talk about the exercise part of it. So a lot of people think that for them to get this weight-bearing exercise that puts the demand on the bones, they have to be quote-unquote exercising. Well, what is exercise? In our culture, exercise has come to mean, it's like working out, lifting weights, doing cardio, doing, walking, okay? Going to the gym and doing those kinds of workouts. And it certainly can be that. And that is one way of putting the demand on the bones that has your bones be strong. But it doesn't have to be exercise per se. Ideally, what our exercise would be, our movement, the weight-bearing exercise, the weight-bearing movement that we do would just be happening over the course of daily life. So thinking back to a time when, people were hunter-gatherers or farmers. Those are very physically demanding ways of occupying yourself during the day, just to make life happen. So if someone were hunting and gathering, they would be physically, carrying things on their back, physically pulling things, climbing trees, harvesting, carrying stuff, carrying large, bulky things, carrying heavy things, carrying things that moved, if you're carrying animals. Or, thinking about, a friend of mine who has horses, how physical the work is to be able to brush the horse and feed the horse, clean the horse's stalls. I know someone who went and had a short internship, couple of days, at a working farm where they do regenerative agriculture. The farmer's name is, I don't remember his name right now, Polyface Farm, Joel Salatin, right? And so he has people intern at his farm to learn to do regenerative agriculture. And the process of applying to be one of those people means that someone goes for, just going to make it up, 3 days and works on the farm. Very physical work, not a bit of exercise, but all kinds of lifting, pushing, pulling, cutting, all those things that are required for making your farm function, operate, work. And it's all physically demanding. It's pretty much all going to be weight bearing in some way or other. So if your normal daily activity puts that demand on your bones, that's really the best. But unfortunately, in our sedentary modern world, very few people have physically demanding jobs. My husband does carpentry, building. So that's weight bearing. So he's carrying, wood and ladders and climbing, and all of those things put demand on the body. So if your daily activities naturally require that your body get down on the floor, get up, carry things, lift, lifting a heavy something, so it's like my food processor, for example. If I reach up into the cupboard and I grab the food processor, the process of getting it down from the cupboard and putting it on the counter is requiring that my body support that weight. Now, that's a very limited time, and it's not really sufficient to qualify as weight-bearing exercise, the amount that my body needs, but that's examples. Okay, another example is when I go to the grocery store, I almost never get a cart. I carry it. I require that my body, the structure of my body, support the mass of the groceries that I'm carrying. And I have a duffel bag that I use to carry my groceries in. As I'm walking from the store to my car, I carry my grocery bag out away from my body, and I'm moving around so that I require my body to be able to support the weight of the food that I'm going to be eating, right? For a short period of time, I require that my body support that body weight, creating that minute to minute, hour to hour demand that my body has to put bone density into there to be able to have my body be able to perform those functions. So a common problem that people have as they get older is their activity level decreases. They, may get to the point where they're feeling frail, feeling older, that they can't do these things, and so they stop trying. They stop requiring that their body be able to perform those things. And this is part of why elder people lose, their strength, and they're more prone to bone density loss, bone loss, osteoporosis, osteopenia, which we were talking about the other day, right? Because they stop putting the demand on, because they start thinking that they're not able to do these things, and therefore their body really stops being able to do these things because they're not demanding it, right? So if your normal activities require that you to do things, your body continues to be able to do them. Another common thing that happens with older people is they start feeling frail and less able to walk and take the stairs. So it's like when my husband's mother was living in a home, basically, an assisted living facility. So people who live there, mostly when they're going up, because it's a multi-floor building, when they're going down to lunch and they're going back up to their rooms, do they take the stairs or do they take the elevator? Mostly they take the elevator. And then when they feel like they need it, they have a cane or they have a walker. All of those devices, including the elevator, make it easier for the person to get around, to stand, to walk, which is terrific if that's what you really need. But are we depending on those crutches before they're really necessary? Am I assuming that I or my elderly mother or father or a family member that I'm visiting, am I assuming that their physical body is not capable of performing those activities as simple as going up the stairs and down the stairs? Am I making it easier for myself to continue living? Therefore, no longer require that my body have to do things for itself, but I make it easier. Can I see how using a cart in the grocery store is like that, right? It's me making it easier for my body to do what I want to do without having to support the weight, without sometimes even having to walk. Cars, they make it easier for me to get around. It makes it easier for me to, go to the store and buy the things and not have to walk miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. So it's certainly a crutch. Personally, it's one that I do happen to rely on, but it's a convenience, and it certainly makes my life easier. But I realize that I am losing the demand that I would have had on my body of the weight-bearing exercise, and the demand that my body has to be strong to be able to do that. So by living a relatively sedentary lifestyle, hey, I do this too, right? My body is less strong than it would be if I were having my weight-bearing exercise be part of my normal daily activity. So I do what I can to be able to compensate for that, right? I exercise 3 days a week. My husband and I do high intensity interval training with some weights so that the body has the demand to be strong, bones and muscles, and metabolism for that matter. I'm going to talk about weight-bearing exercise and metabolism tomorrow, but just recognizing that I have the ability to make choices every single day that add some weight-bearing, some exercise, health-building elements into it, even if it's not enough. So it's like my husband and I do this metabolic aftershock, right? The high intensity interval training with the addition of weights, but I still am conscious of, if I'm choosing to do things, how can I choose to do this in a way that puts more demand that my body be strong and healthy? And so I do that. Another thing that a lot of people do, particularly in our culture, is we don't squat. In other cultures where they don't sit in chairs, people squat all the time. In some countries, they don't have chairs. People squat as their version of sitting. And in the Western cultures where we don't squat very much, our bodies are physically incapable of getting into that position, the squatting position. And why? Why does that happen? In cultures where they squat all the time, children learn to squat from the very beginning of their life, and everyone around them is squatting. And that puts a demand on the physical structure that squatting be possible and easy. And I have heard, I haven't researched this in a long time, but my understanding is that there are little facets, little indentations on our bones that develop in response to the demand we place on them. So if I demand that my body squat from the time that I am very small, my bones will form with squatting facets, a little divot inside the bone where the other bone comes in when I squat. So the bone forms that way in response to the demand I place on it. If I don't squat, which again, in our culture, we don't, then those squatting facets do not develop, which makes squatting difficult for people who grew up in places where squatting is not common. I now, every day, for the most part, is just part of my daily activity. I make a point of squatting every day, demanding that my body do that. And in the beginning, when I started doing this years ago, it was really hard. Like I could only squat for a very short period of time before my muscles would cramp up because I wasn't requiring that my body be in that position, so it wasn't comfortable. It was really difficult. Now I can squat for, a pretty reasonable amount of time, not as long as people who live in countries where squatting is common, but I can do it. No, I can't fully squat, meaning I have to be up on my toes a little bit, but at least I can stay in that position for a reasonable amount of time because I've required my body have to do that. No, I do not have fully formed squatting facets. So my bones physically are not really able to be in that position and have it be sustainable, have it be comfortable, right? For a real squat, my heels would be able to be on the floor and I'm in a squatting position. My bones don't do that. But for me, squatting with my heels up off the floor is close. And I can do it because I've demanded it. So it's like whatever you've required your body to be able to do, it will be able to do. It might be difficult at first, short, partial, just like this squat. I'm still only able to do a partial squat, but I'm able to do it now much longer. And I can actually do things at the same time. I can squat and do things as opposed to squatting just for the sake of squatting and then have to stand up in a minute because my legs are cramping. I can be in a squatting position for quite a while. Not a long while, but a reasonable length of time. So it's like I've been recording a video blog, right? This last time I recorded, I was doing it from a squatting position for reasons that aren't really worth explaining, but I was able to do it. I didn't question my ability to do it because I know from doing it for a while, my body's able to squat for a reasonable amount of time and be stable. So it's like when I was recording a video, I didn't want to be wobbling around all over the place because I'm in an unstable position. I was able to do it confidently, knowing that I would be still enough for recording video, which is terrific, a vast improvement over where my squat was before. So whatever it is you need your body to do, require it to do more. For older people who sometimes walk with a cane but don't always need to walk with a cane, maybe spend more time when it's safe, right? You're not at risk of falling. Spend more time not relying on the cane. If you have to walk with a cane, maybe sometimes hold it up off the ground so you're not actually using it for supporting your weight, right? And then use it when you need it. Put it down on the ground when you need the support. So you're requiring your body to get stronger by putting a demand on it, while still having the ability to support yourself should falling start to happen. That's a way that older people can start requiring that their muscles and their bones be stronger so that they can be more capable, so they can be more able to be free and do whatever they want to do with their bodies. Because if I had to walk with a cane, to me, that would be really limiting. There's all sorts of things that I wouldn't be able to do if I had to have one hand to support my body weight with a cane all the time. Like carrying, a lot of groceries would be hard to do if I had to have one hand to be able to support myself on a cane. I would have to use a cart. But if I demand my body a little bit at a time, be able to carry more, then it gets easier for me to do that. All right, so that's my Facebook Live for today, talking about weight-bearing exercise and bone density. Thank you for watching. Give me feedback, share with your friends. If you want to subscribe to my Your Health on Stress and What You Can Do weekly video blog, that's going on right now. And I am going to be coming out soon with something that people can do to be able to feel like they're contributing to what's going on in the world. I think this is a need that a lot of people have. They want to help because there's all sorts of craziness going on and they feel powerless to be able to do it. I want to give people a way to be able to contribute, to be able to help and feel like they make a difference and actually be making a difference, in my opinion. So that's coming. Sandra Lee, miracleinspirations.com. Have a wonderful day. Breathe. What can you do to help yourself be healthier today? Okay, thanks. Have a wonderful day. Bye.